This is Inside Indiana Business Radio for Tuesday, September 3rd, 2024. I'm Mark Mazurek. The IEDC announced Tuesday that Commerce Secretary David Rosenberg will lead a delegation to Taiwan to participate in a microelectronics conference and meet with industry leaders and companies doing business in Indiana. Rosenberg will also use the trip this week to promote an IEDC office, which opened last month in Taipei, the capital of the East Asian country. The IEDC has appointed a Taiwan advisor and said it plans to hire a director for the office in the next few weeks. The moves are the latest in the IEDC's work to strengthen the state's position in a semiconductor industry where Taiwan is the international leader. Governor Eric Holcomb led a trade trip to Taiwan in 2022. Indiana is now home to 10 Taiwan-based businesses and last year did $1.6 billion in trade with the country. The IEDC said officials will attend the SemiCon Taiwan event Wednesday through Friday. It's being hosted by the International Industry Association SEMI, who is bringing an event called SEMI Expo in the Heartland to Indiana next year. Enthusiasts of futsal, a variation of soccer, have a new place to play in Evansville. The city's first public, professional-sized futsal court opened at Stockwell Park last month. The project, which cost around $340,000, was funded by a $200,000 donation from the Wellborn Foundation, $26,000 in donations from the Evansville Parks Foundation, and American Rescue Plan funds.
It's a lot easier to reach out to a community when they're coming together for an event or for a sport, and being there with them and showing support and knowing that they have invested in something that brings the community together is one of the best things that agencies could do for the betterment of the community.
That's Abraham Brown, president of the Liga Link Latino Soccer League. He said the futsal courts are renovated tennis courts and came about due to input from Evansville's growing Hispanic community. From the number one source for Indiana business news, this is Inside Indiana Business Radio.
Indiana, your bold future starts here. IBJ Media, Inside Indiana Business, and the Indiana Economic Development Corporation invite you to the Engage Indiana series, presented by CareSource, Indiana University, and Old National Bank. With an unrelenting focus on growing Indiana's economy, our Engage Indiana events take place in every region of the state. Discover when we'll be in your area at ibj.com/engage.
The biggest employer in downtown Warsaw is expanding further. On Tuesday, Lake City Bank announced it has bought another building to add to its downtown campus to serve as an innovation and technology center. The building is directly across from the bank's longtime headquarters on East Center Street. The purchase adds 35,000 square feet of space over 3 stories. Lake City Bank said the new space will be renovated and modernized to house the bank's technology operations like its tech service, information security, and project management teams. Lake City Bank employs close to 300 people across the soon-to-be 6 buildings in downtown Warsaw. The bank did not disclose its financial investment in the building. A cadre of state and national officials were on hand Tuesday to unveil a monument to Indiana's longest-serving Senator Richard Lugar. Former Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice headlined the group of officials on hand to christen the statue in a ceremony at the Bicentennial Unity Plaza outside Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The statue's permanent home will be on Lugar Plaza outside the County City building. Lugar was the mayor of Indianapolis in the late 60s and early 70s before embarking on a 3-decade tenure in the U.S. Senate. He's often credited with turning Indianapolis into a modern city and created Unigov in 1970. In the Senate, Lugar spearheaded nuclear disarmament legislation in the 1980s. He was given the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Barack Obama, and people on both sides of the political aisle speak on Lugar's civility and respect. Lugar died in 2019. A leading researcher into the neuroscience of addiction has been named the inaugural executive director of the Institute for Human Health and Well-Being at IU Indianapolis. Stephen Boehm is a professor at IU Indianapolis, chairman of the Department of Psychology, and a primary faculty member in the Stark Neuroscience Research Institute. The Institute for Human Health and Well-Being at IU Indy is part of a $250 million initiative announced last fall to advance discoveries aimed at treating diseases and improving human health and expanding life sciences research. Among the Institute's goals, the university said, is a pursuit of research focused on health equity and the use of artificial intelligence to support the screening and detection of chronic diseases. Storyteller and president of AES Indiana, Brandy Davis Handy, is this week's guest on the Business and Beyond podcast hosted by Gary Dick, presented by PNC, available now from your favorite podcast provider. I'm Marek Mazurek for Inside Indiana Business Radio On Demand.